Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. It's mailbag time today. Josh Mansfield, Charlie Eisenhood with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, being with us over this off season. Josh, it's always fun to get to mailbag, especially when we haven't done one for a while, and we've got everything like piled up from the end of the season.
Yeah, I also love mailbags off season because the questions aren't about specific tournaments. Sometimes our mailbags are dominated by, what do you think about this? What did you think about that? What about this decision?
The decision on this thing.
Yeah.
The basket placement on this.
Right. And I mean, we'll get which please keep sending them, but we'll have 8 Spectator reports, and it's like some of them say very similar things, and so it's nice to do a mailbag when our listeners are a little bit creative about what they want to hear about.
We do have a Spectator report today. Something I wanted to get to. Just one. Okay, Josh, let's get right into it, and we're going to do some a subscriber bonus with additional mailbag questions, including some about the Upshot and the business of Multi-World Disc Golf. So always love to hear from all of our subscribers in our Discord, and we'd love to have you join us over at discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. Josh, grab the first question. What are we doing?
All right. Oh man, we'll start with an easy one. This is from Zerable. He says, one thing that didn't get much discussion that I saw, they seemingly moved the cash line to the cut line, possibly last minute, or PDGA Live didn't get the memo until last minute. In past tournaments, you could make the cut via tie, but miss the cash by finishing solo last. Both FPO and MPO had ties at the cut line, but everybody got paid on Sunday. Great change.
Yeah, how does this work in the PGA Tour? I mean, presumably, if you make the cut, that's like a pretty significant pay jump. Do you get paid at every spot on the PGA Tour?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that's how it is in Live Golf because it's so lame.
Yes.
PGA Tour players generally do not make money if they miss the cut.
Okay.
But if you do miss the cut, if in the majors, I think you still make some money just because even qualifying is difficult. How much do you make? Do you make money if you make the cut, or are there still people who don't make money? Yes. Normally, if you make the cut, you get a check. That's how I want it to be in disc golf. I wanted to see how golf did it, but I am pro cut equals cash.
I'm also pro cut, so just in case anyone was unclear where we stand on this.
I'm definitely pro cut.
Pro cut at 3-day tournaments. 2 days, you're done. That's it.
2 days done? Yeah.
2 days and then a cut. Yeah. You play bad after 2 days, you don't get the right to play the third.
It seems fine to me. It's how it is in the PGA Tour.
That's fine with me.
They go 2-2.
I don't understand the argument of pros don't make as much, so they need to play their way back into it. And it's
stop.
That bumps other people out. Just play better in day 1 and 2.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Cuts always. It makes logistics easier. It makes the course flow better. Lets you have more flexibility with when you want to put your rounds on Championship Sunday. You can move them up. You can have the FPO start a little bit later because you have way less MPO field to get through the course.
Yep. Reduces the risk of weather delays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So much more flexibility.
Charlie, I wanted to mention one thing about Live Golf real quick. Did you see the news about Live Golf that came out this week?
Well, they're going to start having 4-round tournaments or something?
Yeah, they're doing 4-round tournaments. Charlie, you know why it's called Live Golf? It's because LIV are the Roman numerals for 54 because they play 54 holes. But now they don't play 54 holes. So are they changing the name? What
would it be? LXXII golf?
I haven't seen anybody be because everyone's like, oh yeah, this is Live just trying to get into the majors and get world rankings. And
listen, I got to be honest with you. Okay. I don't follow pro golf outside of pretty much the Masters. I might tune in for a final round of another major if it's very interesting. Mm-hmm. But I'm like an ultra casual. But I love the Masters. I get all the apps. I literally watch all day long in April. It's one of my favorite sporting events of the year. But Live Golf seems like such trash. Does anybody care? I mean, it's just so stupid.
Listen, man, you got to get that Saudi money, you know?
Oh, God. All right. Let's... It'll be a bad day when something like that comes to disc golf.
Oh, man.
All right, here we go. JomezPro series.
Okay. Yep.
They're doing this new thing next year, right? With the JomezPro post-pro only. We were talking about the Cactus Rock thing earlier in the show. How would you determine, this comes from Matt. How would you determine if the JomezPro series is a success? Is it YouTube views, pro player participation, hype, etc.? Should the JomezPro series be more experimental, like doubles or glow tournaments, or trial runs for future Elite Series events? So what's the measure of success?
Well, Charlie, to me, I think that the biggest determinant of success here is going to be YouTube views. I think that's a good proxy for the energy around these tournaments. Even if the pro participation isn't as high, if there's that kind of if the Jomez YouTube viewership is as good as or better than, or at least comparable to the typical tour event, that's a good sign for me that you may be able to get the energy necessary to bring spectators out, even if they don't come out this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I conceptually like this tournament. Like the idea of a post-produced only thing and highlighting a course that's very interesting or difficult to do live coverage at, like, for instance, Cactus Rock.
Love it.
Is a really cool idea. The problem is the rest of this series doesn't really inspire me. The tournaments that they've announced so far are Waco, Cascade Challenge, and Champions Landing Open, aka Dynamic Disc Open, aka Glassblown Open, aka Emporia. So what is happening here? This just looks like the Pro Tour is like, well, we want to make these tour stops, but we don't want to commit to putting a tournament here that's for real with our team and our operations and our live streamers and all that stuff. So they're like, well, let's just send the camera guys. But are you excited about these tournaments?
No.
These, no, I mean, Waco has a special place in my heart because it's Shred Fest now.
Yeah,
it's
Waco
one of the easiest courses on tour. But Cascade Challenge, I could never see that course again and I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Emporia, I'm sorry. I just don't need to go to Emporia anymore. I just don't. And so I don't know. This just feels like we're trying to keep these tournaments warm. Are people going to want to watch them? I would be way more inspired if they went to some exciting new courses that I hadn't seen.
Well, I want to see
something in the mountains, or
I want to see a mountain course. I want to see Day Law. I want to see courses.
But I'm not exactly chomping at the bit to see Emporia on Jomez.
No, oh boy.
And I've seen some people be like, "This is a cool idea, but it's a terrible name," because it's a fair point. JomezPro series. You go up to somebody on the street hey, you want to check out the JomezPro series? But what the hell are you talking about? It doesn't have any. This is just Silver Series all over again, Josh.
It is Silver Series all over again.
But again, I like the idea of post-produced tournament coverage. I just want them to be more experimental and show me cool new things instead of showing me warmed over tournaments that they're dropping from tour because they're not good enough.
Yeah, I don't care about things like doubles or glow tournaments, but
no.
Go to the places where service is not good enough, and let's get some coverage there. And I think that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think let me see De La, let me see, what's that crazy course that they did the go throw one at? I don't know why I can't think of the name. Not Champions Landing. That's Emporia.
Are you talking Blue Ribbon Pines?
No, I'm talking about the crazy course that guy built for $1 zillion.
Eagles Landing?
Eagles Crossing.
Eagles Crossing. Yeah.
Champions Landing, Eagles Crossing. They're similar. I'm more interested in that, to be perfectly honest. But at the end of the day, my personal preference, not that relevant. If people watch, I think that's a good thing.
Yep. The Upshot is presented by Pound. makers of the best bag in disc golf. Are you looking for the perfect bag to bring a few discs in order to squeeze in that round on Thanksgiving morning? The Vagabond is the perfect bag when you're short on space and just need the essentials. With the updated shoulder strap anchor points, the Vagabond is a lightweight, comfortable carry for any course. Holding more than 10 discs in the main compartment, there's plenty of room on the side pouches for all accessories needed. Pre-orders are live now with shipping at the end of the month. Make sure to check them out at pounddiscgolf.com. Pound, makers of the best bag in disc golf.
What's next?
Okay, next question. Charlie, dream card. 3 pros, MPO and MPO or FPO to be on your card. Who would they be?
You want a MPO card and an FPO card, or just a combo?
Just combo. 3 people you get to go play around a disc golf with. Who are you playing with?
Holy smokes. That's tough. Man, that's tough, Josh. I will go with... I'm going to pick some old heads, I think.
Ooh, okay.
At least in part.
Sure.
Never really talked to the guy and have always wanted to. I feel like it'd be fun to be on a card with him. Barry Schultz.
Oh, okay.
I want to hear like stories from back in the day while we're playing. Obviously still a great player.
Yeah.
Obviously all these players would just mop me so bad. I would like to have Juliana Korver on the card.
Oh, that's a great pick.
I mean, JK and I know each other pretty well at this point. We've commentated to more rounds together than I've worked with anybody else besides maybe Brian Earhart. And so, but you know, we're in this sort of like commentating setting, and it would be cool to play around with JK, which I actually have never done, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then just to say that I've been able to do it, Macbeth.
That's a good pick. Okay, good list. I like it. I am going to go a little more modern. First up, should be obvious, friend of the pod, Casey White.
Casey came to mind. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like Casey. Like I'll message Casey. I talk to Casey more than I talk to anybody else, and so I can't believe we've never played around. I know a friend of mine has already played around when he came through Montana, but I would love to play around Casey White. I would put Missy Gannon.
Okay.
I have never seen Missy not smiling on the course, and that's the kind of person.
The vibes
that's
are
the energy.
Positive.
Yeah, that's the kind of energy I want on my card. Exactly. Oh man, I had a back and forth on my last spot, but I'm gonna give it to Nicholas Antila. And the reason why. First off, I think Nicholas is a good guy, but when I was at at European Disc Golf Festival, I was walking with some of the tournament staff. And like staying back behind the players a good distance. And Nicholas saw me and like came and hung out with me and asked me about my time in Europe for like 5 minutes in the middle of the third round. So like he's just over there chatting. And I'm like, that's anyone who's at a major and has like that level of like comfort to just go and hang out is probably a pretty good card mate. So those are my 3 picks.
Shout out to all the pros who listen to the pod. We always some of you are lurkers, and that's great too. But it's always nice to hear from you when we have you on that you like to listen. So great picks, Josh.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get to this Spectator report.
Okay.
This one comes from Andrew.
Okay.
And I think this gets to some bigger issues. Okay. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I will not bury the lead here. In my opinion, the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship fell flat. Kudos to Bedford Parks and Recreation and Ivy Hill Golf Club. Both organizations clearly put in a ton of work and were outstanding hosts. I think everyone can look forward to the Champions Cup in April, knowing that New London is awesome in its current state and that more upgrades seem to be in the works for fans. Likewise at Ivy Hill, the course will only continue to get better. I also want to shout out to local clubs. As you can tell, they put lots of effort and no fault lies there. This Andrew has attended multiple Pro Tour events, a Silver Series, U.S. Women's, multiple U.S. DGCs, last year's Worlds, and this event, he says, fell far, far short of them all as an experience. Crowd control is almost non-existent. There was very little vending and food. At New London, there was a single food truck. Also very disappointed with the number of disc golf vendors set up. Spotters were not well positioned. They had a single spotter following each card instead of having them stationed at specific holes. VIP tickets, which Andrew had, were advertised as including access to snack tents. At this event, there was just a single tent at New London at hole 17 and 2 tents right next to each other at Ivy Hill hole 1. So just not much in the way of VIP perks. We've heard this literal exact complaint about other Nate Heinold run VIP ticket events. The crowds felt small, which made the crowd control issues even more glaring. The A-tier amateur event may have ended up hurting attendance rather than helping. We've heard some reports about that as well. People just, their tee times, were such that it was like almost impossible to go and watch. And I'll read this last paragraph. There was a palpable lack of enthusiasm during my time at the event. It seemed like the players, officials, out-of-town event organizers, and vendors were all just ready for the season to be over. I feel like the attached picture of the leaderboard that followed lead cards underscored this point, featuring mismatched numbers written in what appears to be magic marker. So, Josh, your thoughts on the Tour Championship and this report?
As long as the Tour Championship keeps coming after the USDGC, I think you're going to struggle to generate any kind of enthusiasm around it. It's never, no matter how much money you put in, no matter what you do, it's never going to have the importance that USDGC does. And so at the end of a long season, it's hard to have what really feels like should be kind of the capstone finale event to wrap up the season, and then to do 2 more that people trickle through. I think there are some cell phones here that probably could have been avoided, but generally I think it's just an issue that the Pro Tour is going to have so long as it insists on being an end of season event.
It's simply the case that this event has never really stuck in a way that feels fun and exciting and interesting for fans. Just is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I have the fix. You ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
I have the fix. It's not actually all that complicated. MVP Open becomes a Tour Championship.
Love it.
And all you do is you slide the playoffs back an extra event.
Add in one more.
The last playoff event is GMC. The Tour Championship is at MVP. An event, I will say, that is going to be packed with fans, that has a culture and an identity, that doesn't require being it already is weird, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's already a very limited field relative to the rest of the season. And it's a wonderful course. It's a great place to finish out the season. And, you can probably price your tickets fairly high because there is this really strong culture around this tournament. Mm-hmm. And I don't really see significant downsides. I mean, you are going to cut the field a little bit, right? Relative to how it is now. It's like, what? I forget what the numbers were this year. MVP Open 2025, they had 79 MPO, 42 FPO. So you're cutting that to, 35 and 20-ish. But does that really negatively impact this tournament overall? I feel like the upside is that you get the Tour Championship ending in a way that is fun, exciting, great course, and then you go to USDGC and let that be the finish to the season that everyone wants it to be.
Love the idea.
Trying to force the Tour Championship to be the last thing, and you don't even count USDGC towards it. What's the point? You're not going to make it better than USDGC. They're not even trying.
No, you're not. I love the idea. I think it is a brilliant fix. I hope if there's any TD that's going to hear this and go, maybe Steve Dodge is one of them. So Steve Dodge, we need you. We're setting up the Dodge signal.
I could imagine that from his perspective, like cutting the field at his tournament even more is kind of like disappointing. there's probably ways around that. You could have another event alongside it or something. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is the best solution to making the Tour Championship feel like a really fun, exciting tournament that people are enthusiastic for.
Here's how you do it. You run Tour Championship, you run an A tier the next weekend, and then you run USDGC. And for the A tier, anybody who volunteers to help run the A tier gets VIP tickets to the Pro Tour Championship.
Okay, so
because that way, the A tier's MVP or at Maple Hill. So they just, because you're talking about how Steve Dodge wants a bigger field, but Steve Dodge also talked about cutting like regional pros out and how difficult that was. You're going to lose pros. But if there are, I would be, or maybe you give like an extra week after the A tier before USDGC. But I would bet that there are pros, probably not like you're barely missing the bubble, but I bet there are a lot of pros who would stick around, who are, lower down the standings, who would play an A tier at Maple Hill. And you could reward the spectators who stick around an extra week and who come back and volunteer for the A tier with Pro Tour incentives.
There's a lot of potential ideas about how to like still make it a big buzzy event, but I think it would maintain its culture even if you made it a Tour Championship.
I think it is even more conducive to all of Steve Dodge's events that he does around the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What's next, Josh?
I'll leave you with this totally unrelated stat about Gannon. I think it kind of tells a story about his competition rising to meet him while he gets better. Maybe that whole story is already told by a simpler combo of higher ratings and fewer wins, though. And this is from David. Sorry, this is coming from David. 2025, Gannon lost 5 events with a better than 160 event rating of 10 total. 1060, thank you. So half of the events he shot a 1060 or better event rating, he lost. And he won one event with a lower than 1060 rating. In 2024, Gannon lost 3 events with a better than 1060 event rating out of 8 total, and won 3 events with a lower than 1060 event rating. This is a great stat.
It really is a great stat. I mean, you'd have to go a little deeper, because it's like there's course effect on rating. If you're in woodsy course that doesn't have much OB, that just tends to give out lower ratings. So I don't know like what the complexion of the 2024 tour versus 2025, and you'd have to go and do some analysis. But, just from a high level perspective, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's like other players played better, and Gannon may have played a little bit worse, but not a lot worse. And had a lot of, close finishes near the top, on the podium, top 5, where he didn't win, where maybe last year he would have won. Because you had guys playing better. I mean, like, AB played better and more consistently this season.
Yep.
Obviously, Macbeth, like, super back. Calvin played much better than last year. So other guys at the top were more consistently playing well, and that put more pressure on wins.
Yeah. Even though Gannon really wasn't playing any worse than he was the year before.
All right, Josh, is Silva's standstill the best weapon in FPO? The distance and accuracy she gets in the fairway is mind-boggling. She's throwing 350-foot ropes dead on target, blowing past players on her card who are taking full run-ups and sacrificing accuracy. This one comes from Russell.
I love the point. I think this is a really, really great analysis. And it is true that this is a pretty significant weapon. I am not ready to call it the best weapon in FPO, because there is a particular player who won world championships on her single weapon, which is putting. If you gave me Silva's standstill or owns putting, I don't know anybody who's taking Silva's standstill.
Okay. Pick from the following options.
Okay.
Kristen's forehand.
Okay.
Silva's standstill backhand.
Yep.
Owns putting.
Yep.
Or Evelina's power, like driving power, like, tee shots. Let's just call it tee shots.
Yeah. This is an important question.
This is very important.
Is this for me, or is this like, do I think what pros would prefer to have?
No, I think you should say for like biggest weapon of this group.
It's got to be Evelina's shot. Are we counting like gap hitting, shot shaping, and power?
Yeah, like tee shots.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, if you put a like semi-good putter on Evelina's drives, they would sweep every event in the in season.
Yeah.
Imagine if she had like owns putting, no one would ever win ever again.
I gotta be honest. I think the answer is Kristen's forehands.
Ooh, really?
Listen,
okay.
It is such a differentiator in FPO. There are a few players who even throw an elite forehand besides Kristen, and hers is so deadly accurate. Now, maybe a year or two ago it was a little bit better shape than it was in 2025.
I'll even give you
actually that wasn't really her problem.
Yeah.
Her problem was obviously all mental this season.
Right.
She had that tournament, it was Crokel, right? Where she like literally did the best she's ever done, tee to green, and then like putted the worst she ever has. That was like the build up to the European Disc Golf Festival disaster and then the World dropout. But her forehand, she's a good thrower, right? Like off the tee, she's a good thrower, and she has both spins really effectively. Now, obviously, she's not as good a thrower as Evelina, but it is her approach ability. Now, yes, combined with her putting, of course, but like she is often leaving herself 15 footers and in where other players are putting from the edge of the circle, and it adds up over time. Her approaching with the forehand specifically, I feel like is the biggest reason that she dominated the sport for 3 seasons.
Okay, I don't disagree, but she does have like a really solid game in every other element. Evelina won Worlds as a one-trick pony. Like, she only throws the disc really, really, really well, and that was enough to win a 5-round World Championship with Kristen in the field. I think that, like, other elements of Evelina's game, because I like, you're not saying I have to take Evelina's driving and Evelina's putting, right? You take Evelina's driving and you, like, put that onto pick your pro who's in the top 20, and that pro is now the best pro in FPO, bar none. Bar none. I think just about anybody in the top 20 has the putting that if you combine it with Evelina's driving, that they win.
I get your point.
It's a great question.
Next one.
It's my turn. Okay. We've got a pair of MVP questions here. So first one. This comes from Rob in the Discord. Simon has been with MVP since the start of 2023 and is going to have 5 discs in the Simon line by end of year. Time-lapse, pixel, balance, bokeh, and the aspect. Paul has been with Discraft since 2019, is going to have 8 discs in the Paul Macbeth line by end of year. Luna, Kratos, Melita, Malta, Athena, Onyx, Zeus, and Hades. Is MVP oversaturating the brand too quickly? It seems like the time-lapse and pixel releases were huge where I am, but I haven't seen the same hype for the balance as I have, for example, the Kratos.
I got to be honest, I don't know. MVP seems to be flooding the zone just in general, right? Beyond the Simon line, like it's like crazy amounts of
new discs,
new plastics, new this and that. I don't even, to be honest, I never try to keep up with this stuff.
Okay.
It's not the thing that I like care about. Not specific to MVP, just like plastic stuff in general.
Yeah.
I feel like MVP is the buzziest brand and has been for at least a year and a half, 2 years at this point. And they are striking while the iron is hot. Is there a chance that they could overdo it and just, it becomes too much for people to kind of like take in? Maybe, but people, the disc golf fans have a real way of just buying everything. I mean, they're like, it's MVP does it directly from their warehouse, like a company like Discraft is doing it via Ledgestone, where it's just we're doing all this crazy stuff. And like, I don't care about any of that stuff, but is it oversaturation? You could call that a new Simon line disc. I don't know.
That's the last one in the Simon line is the oversaturation. That's a pretty tongue-in-cheek name.
Sorry, it's a boring answer. What do you think, Josh?
So I've got two thoughts. First, Clark says in response to this that I thought was really good, is that Simon isn't very young, and so getting these out early while he is still playing the most is smart, and I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the issue and the question that I had, and we talked about this in a recent show, and there's another MVP email that's going to come after me for something I said in that show, and which is why I wanted to talk about these two emails. Simon clearly has been a big boon for MVP. The question that I have had, and I always kind of wondered when I looked at that deal, like, it's clear that he was going to make a lot of plastic move, especially up front. I guess my biggest question is, like, what is the delta between what they would have moved anyway and what they move with Simon? MVP fans are just like crazy loyal and always are buying the new thing. And like, I feel like MVP's always been the brand that's like releasing new and innovative products before Simon. And so I've just always wondered to what extent, and this question, and the reason I liked this question, and I don't really have a great answer to it, is like, at what point does the delta of this is the bump that Simon gives us start to drop underneath the threshold of $1 million?
Listen, you're asking the wrong question.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you're wrong that Simon is not moving the needle. Like, Simon is a big aspect of why they have had this growth. And they injected that big splashy move at exactly the right time to kind of like pick up the pace again after Holy Shot stuff had faded out. The question to ask about is, what about all these discs that get released in the James Conrad line? That is where I think, at this point, is its relation to James Conrad have anything to do with the fact that these discs are selling? Like, the trail, their release of Trail, that disc would have sold either way.
And it probably
now, it's great for James. That dude is getting them checks.
Yeah.
Why not? Right? Yeah. Like, hey, good for you. And maybe he had a hand in saying, like, we need this slot. But I think to some extent, it is about the disc. Mm-hmm. It is about the disc. And good discs that are marketed properly will sell. But James Conrad was almost invisible on tour this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, he's really been struggling with the putter. Great guy. Deserves the success that he's had because, he literally earned MVP so much money and leapt them into like the big time group of manufacturers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was responsible for that first push into that tier that has set them up for success. So I'm sure they're happy to be paying him his royalty checks on the trail. But I do think that, this would have sold either way. Simon is a different story. I really think that marketing power of Simon has a big part to do in the buzz over those discs. I mean, they sold a zillion time lapses, and that disc wasn't even all that good. Like,
no, I agree. And they're reselling a time lapse. Did you see that?
Yeah, they retooled it because it wasn't good.
They're selling it again.
But they people were so hyped when that came out in the box, whatever box. I'm not even going to give these discs their. It's all a box to me at this point. After having to sell these boxes on DGN, I'm done. They sold a box that had a time lapse in it, and people were so hyped, and then nobody really threw it.
Yeah. And I guess I would love to know the math because 10 million is a lot to cover, and I would love to see. I wish there was a way to completely isolate the Simon effect because I'd be fascinated.
Impossible though, right? I mean, but
it is possible.
That was the move that made sense, and I think you're wrong to keep saying that this was a bad idea. I don't know why you keep saying it. That they are the buzziest brand in disc golf for over 2 years.
It hasn't been 2 years, Charlie. It's been 5 years. And
well, sure, but they were. I think they would have started to cool off without the holy shit, they got Simon from Discmania.
And I guess I want to clarify, because I don't want to say that it's a bad idea. I really want, like, of all the contracts in disc golf, this is the one that is the most fascinating to me. And I wish there was a world that I could, like, have a perfect counterfactual of with or without Simon and what that does for MVP. I would love for that. And it's obviously not possible, but that's the most interesting question to me.
I understand the point. It's like saying, you know, I'm going to pay 35 times earnings for NVIDIA stock. It's not that you don't think that NVIDIA stock is good. It's that you think maybe it's too expensive.
Right.
For my stock bros out there. Okay, let's keep it moving.
Okay.
All right, we did get another MVP question, and it's on a similar vein. And Josh, I think you're rightly called out by Russell for this one.
Okay.
Josh speculated that MVP could drop Eagle. Presumably you were saying this because he is not frequently at the top of the standings. I really don't think that matters to MVP. Their strategy is clearly to sign players who are likable and who market themselves regardless of their results. None of their MPO-sponsored players are regularly showing up on lead cards, but they are selling hella discs. James Conrad's name is printed on their best-selling new disc of the last 2 years, and he's never relevant these days. I just said that, but yes, I agree. Of course, we don't know their internal numbers, but the fact that MVP signed Durham to a long-term contract says to me that their marketing strategy is working very well. Eagle remains a very popular player who markets himself and his discs well on social media. I wouldn't expect any changes to his status with MVP. If anything, I would look for MVP to add another mid to high profile player this offseason.
So I think there are two things that are interesting about Eagle and that are different than Simon. The first off is that Eagle's line is a dumb line of discs and are not nearly as good of discs as Simon's or even James's. Like, I was just double checking. So the Wind Dragon is a Dimension, which is a 14503. His Halloween Terror.
Perfect for my bag.
Perfect for my bag. He also did I don't remember I don't even know what the brand, Synergy series. That's a resistor. The resistors are also stupid. The 6.5, 403.5. Like, why are they releasing plastic that nobody wants to throw or is going to meaningfully use? But they give James Conrad the trail.
That's what Eagle wants.
Well, I get that's what Eagle wants, but that's just like the Simon one has made so much. Like, I understand all the Simon marketing. It makes sense to me. I would love to see. Like, I'm still serious wanting to. I wish I could see the numbers, but like, I can see all the through line rationale there. I just feel like it is not being done as well with Eagle. And here's the problem that I have that Russell brings up. And then the other point and then the other flip side to Eagle is that and this was in my mind and I didn't say it and I should have. Charlie, we were talking about how Eagle hasn't been really successful with MVP discs, and like, we speculated if he would perform better using like back to Discmania discs or other discs. And so I just can't help but wonder if Eagle's questioning the same thing. Now, here's the point that I want to make though. People talk about James Conrad's name being printed on their best-selling new disc of the last 2 years. I just don't believe, as you said, that that's because of James Conrad. I remember talking to an MVP, all-bag MVP friend, and I was like, who are your favorite pros? And he goes, oh, well, Sarah Hokum's my favorite pro because it's the only FPO player that MVP has. They're not buying Sarah Hokum discs. The Crave, a massively popular, great disc for amateur disc golfers, they weren't buying the Crave because of Sarah Hokum. They were buying the Crave because they love the Crave, and they like Sarah Hokum because of MVP. So I have such a hard time with MVP of all the brands in disc golf trying to separate which way it goes. I know that people at Innova went and bought the Toro when Calvin came out with it as his signature disc. I know that people went and bought the Luna when it came out as Paul's signature disc. Are people really buying the Trail because it's James Conrad's disc? I don't think they are. And so I'm having a question about like what the sales around Eagle are, and to what extent, if they just put out a stamped Dimension with a unique stamp, people wouldn't just buy it at the same rate that they're buying the Eagle one.
I think your point is more about the pro player sponsorship market than it is about MVP specifically.
Yes.
Because MVP's top pros are not, at the top of the charts right now. Uh-huh. It's just a simple fact.
Yes.
Except Silva, right?
Yes.
I don't know. It's definitely always a little of column A, a little of column B. I tend to agree with your assessment. I also think that, for instance, Eagle would be well served to think more about a mass market disc that even he doesn't necessarily want to put in his bag.
Yes. He had the envy when he switched over. So smart.
Right. So I don't know. I don't even know how they make these decisions. Who decided about the trail? I don't know. I don't follow these things, like I said. But I do think that you may be right about Eagle's specific discs, but I think the fact that Eagle is involved with MVP is very motivating to a lot of people who love Eagle and love having Eagle and Simon be together.
Sure.
All that. So,
the last thing I'm going to say before we move on, the reason I question these sponsorships is because I think MVP is the best marketing in terms of just like general fan hype around their plastic, even their stock plastic. They are the best of any company out there. No question. And so that's where I've always had, like, to your point, what comes first? Is it that MVP is really good at the marketing and so their players benefit from it? Or to what extent is their marketing about the players that then drive that marketing? I think it's an interesting question, but I think MVP is just such a hype company. And I think that they probably would be, or at least still would be very hype without the players.
You've made your point. I will just say this as a closer. Fandom survey from last year. The new fandom survey stuff coming out very, very soon, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited about that.
In the works. Number 1 most popular player last year, Simon Lizotte. Number 7 most popular player and 3rd in FPO, Silva Saarinen. Number 8 most popular player, Eagle McMahon. Okay. Germ is near the top. Like, the point is they're signing popular players, not necessarily the biggest superstars. Now, the thing is, strong play correlates to fandom. I will not be shocked if I see Eagles numbers drop this year.
Yeah.
Because he just hasn't really been that relevant on tour. James Conrad, right up near the top as well. He's in the top 20. Jeremy Colling in the top 20. Like, to me, it makes sense to sign players people like, and they're doing that. It's more about that than it is about strong play. I don't see people getting crazy hype about Gannon Buhr discs. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, all right.
This one comes from Guthrie. I'm still curious about the lead card having huge struggles during a pretty good chunk of the season. Felt like all of May and June, the lead cards would have horrible rounds. Champions Cup, Northwest Championship. I mean, we saw that at the end of the season, too. Why is that? It wasn't a bunch of rookies. Even Paul Macbeth had his moments. What do you think?
Man, I think that we should pull the numbers on this because I'm actually really interested to see if it was true or if it was just our sentiment. Oh man, I could see a lot of here's the reason why I really struggle with this question. I can see a lot of reasons why lead card would be more difficult. It's probably like generally more difficult. Like it's probably slower moving around fans waiting for crowd control. You have marshals, and so there is increased pressure to make sure you're not committing foot faults or time violations. You have cameras everywhere that you're waiting to get in position, then who are constantly running around. You have just tons more spectators. You're playing for bigger stakes, so there's more pressure. I have a million reasons why lead card should be harder and thus make you play worse. It feels, though, like that performance was unique to this year, or at least substantially worse this year than it was last year, and none of those factors have changed. So that's why I am so perplexed and just so curious to know if this is like backed up by stats, because there's no reason that it shouldn't be. If this was a continuous thing that we've seen for the past 10 years, that makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense why it would be arising right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's more a case of we notice it when it's happening, and it's very visible because they're getting the most coverage. Mm-hmm. But how often is it actually true relative to the past? I don't know, but it does certainly anecdotally feel like the lead card played worse this year. Like,
yes,
across the board.
Yeah.
It would be good to like do an analysis of like lead card ratings in final rounds 2023, 2024, 2025. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do it. Somebody
if someone wants to, I would love to see the data.
I would too.
Yeah. So let us know if you pull that.
Alrighty. Josh, what's next? I think we got one more. This is from D2 Mighty Ducks in the Discord. Listening to the Bob Giulio interview, I think he's saying the quiet part out loud. The DGPT desperately needs outside sponsorship to bolster purses. It's clear that manufacturers' appetite to be the driving sponsor of purses and propping up tour payouts is dwindling. I imagine a world where either the DGPT puts their top-line focus on ad revenue to continue to strengthen the tour, or the decision on tour stops is going to be much more driven by which TDs can bring in the most purse money, i.e., Des Moines, Ledgestone. I added the IE. That was not Mighty Ducks. That was me. Anyway. Yeah, sure. Hard for me to say where the manufacturer sponsorship appetite lies. I do know there's like some friction there just in general, especially as they're talking about like baskets and changing the baskets. I mean, that's been a mess of its own, right? Like the basket testing, completely like unscientific. Like I don't even really know where we stand on the basket thing. But when these companies want to sponsor an event, they want to put their baskets on the course. But what if the company has bad baskets? Now what are you going to do? Regardless, I still think that the fundamental point here is true. I think the Pro Tour needs to get outside sponsorship in order for the entire operation to keep working well. Like, it is just so expensive. Like, the media arm has got to be making really good money because it's like a fixed cost operation that you then just have subscribers flowing in at like zero marginal cost to add another subscriber, or, you know, minimal. So that's just like pure money stacking up. But the problem is all the event stuff, all of the travel of all the people, all of the administration things, like that's a lot to run these events and then have these big payouts that are not being paid for by ticket sales right now. I mean, to an extent. But I do think that, you know, the tour is going to have to either lean out a little bit and get skinnier in order to make the budgets work, or they're going to have to get that big payday from a big sponsor. They're going to have to get that $10 million contract or something. Maybe not that big, but like $2-3 million would really move the needle for them.
Sponsor,
right? Even $500,000. Yes. Yeah. Like somebody who comes in and says, we're going to be the full season sponsor. We want to be the blank disc golf pro tour.
Yeah.
The Barbasol disc golf pro tour.
Right.
I do think that that's something to keep an eye on.
Honestly, it makes more sense to me than putting all your money in the Pro Tour Championships.
Right. I mean, that's
like,
event.
I don't know how much Barbasol is giving.
Monstrous money loser, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be a monstrous money loser. You know it is because they cut the purse by $50,000.
Right. I mean, if Barbasol doubles their sponsorship and gets entire season sponsorship, and then you just, if it like they see good returns, you keep going up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. That's going to do it for the show. Make sure you check out our subscriber bonus continuing subscription, continuing mailbag, I should say. We got some great additional questions still rolling in the Discord, so we'll get to those and a bunch more. So we will see you in the Discord. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenman signing off. We'll talk to you next time on the Upshot.
I stumbled my way through.
Leave it in.
Don't you dare.